HS teacher used to call me a loser and I would never amount to anything. Ran into her 20 years later on an elevator at my office. At the same university where her husband works. I went to high school in a small southeastern US town. During my junior year, 11th grade, I had a US history teacher who always acted like she was better than anyone else. She was the type that would always say things semi-jokingly about students, which she thought were funny, but came off as pretty mean and hurtful. Unfortunately, she was really popular with parents and the administration, because to be fair, she was a good teacher, and her students did well year after year on the AP exams, taken to earn college credits if you got a high enough score, so she got away with insulting whomever she wanted to insult. Also, she was the type who bragged about being married to a professor. She actually had an affair with him when she was his student and he was married to his first wife, but I digress. At the time, I was dating a guy, also a junior, who happened to be the friendly neighborhood school drug dealer. This was the 80s, so pot and mushrooms were the go-to recreation, nothing too hard, and looking back I think it was a far more innocent time. Our school was a notorious party school, and sat adjacent to the university's dorms. The university was a notorious party school as well, so town was known around the region as a party place. Most parents took it in stride, because many of them were university employees or local business owners. Our teachers were pretty cool too, for the most part. Many of them went to the same university, so they knew the town and the local vibe. However, this teacher liked to talk shit about the party type kids, saying they would not amount to anything, end up in jail, die of overdoses, etc. She was always picking on us, saying we were bad eggs and losers. One day, grocery shopping with my mom, we saw her in the parking lot, and she came over to speak to us. She started off by saying that I was doing poorly in her class. I was not. I had an A at the time, and that my grades were declining because I was dating that boy, in the most dramatic snarky southern accent you can imagine. Then she proceeds to tell my mom she was raising a junkie and a hoe and I would not amount to anything. My mom shot something equally snarky back, I can't remember exactly what, but she came to my defense swiftly, and my teacher scurried off with a shocked look as my mom embarrassed her pretty severely. My parents were the type of parents that were pretty laid back. They knew I was not doing anything worse than what they did in college. I just started partying in high school. Looking back, maybe they were a bit too laid back. Lol. The rest of the school year was uncomfortable, to say the least. I dreaded going to her class. She seemed to make my life miserable at every chance, and now worked in insults about my mom too. I was really hurt, and never forgot how mean she was. I did graduate the next year, went to college, worked for many years in government, then went back to school and got my PhD. I became a professor at the university in my HS town. I never ended up being a junkie or a hoe, however. Riding the elevator one morning to my office, guess who gets on with me? Yep. She was going to visit her husband who was a professor in another department in the same building. I was not going to say a thing. Just stand there biting my tongue, but she recognized me, but can't remember my name, so I reintroduced myself, and she exclaims, "Oh, Afiza. I can't believe it is you. How are you?" I gave a polite, but cool response, and she said in her same snarky tone, "What are you doing here at?" I looked her dead in her eye, and said, "Going to my office." "Your office?" She replied, "Oh, aren't you the funny one?" I did not say anything, but when I got off the elevator, I turned around, pointed down the hall to my office. "Down the hall on the left, department, if you want to drop by. Ask for Dr. Afiza." And I smiled the fakest smile, flipped her off, and said, "Good to see you," returning the snarky attitude. Additional mildly amusing information, I worked with her husband a few times on various committees. He used to try to get me to go to dinner or out with him. I think just her knowing I was a professor was petty enough for me to feel gratified. Thanks for reading. The Chunky Chocolate Milk. Our 3 children have been social distancing at home since school closed in our state in March. We have 3, Moody, 15F, Magellan, 11 meters, and the Dictator, 4 meters. The husband and I are essential workers and are gone a lot, and things at home have been collapsing into a pseudo Lord of the Flies. About Magellan, he is on the spectrum, and is genuinely one of the nicest kids you will ever meet. He is kind, compassionate, absolutely brilliant, and will find something good about every person and every situation. His ability to find joy in small things makes me so grateful for him. He is the kid bullies will fight to protect. If he ever got into a fight, he would literally say that was bad, and I am upset. Kid looked really nice today before he hit me. I say all of this to say that it takes a lot to piss Magellan off, but if you do, the result will be a precisely calculated revenge plot. Anyway, the husband and I keep telling Moody not to ask the boys for their snacks. She is the oldest and the boys adore her. This usually results in her getting whatever she asked for, through some combination of harassment, manipulation, and guilt. It isn't fair to them, and we want it to stop, but with work, we just aren't at home to see it all. On Friday, she asked Magellan for the chocolate milk that came in his lunch delivery. He said no, and she started her 2-day campaign of harassment, none of which we knew about until Sunday night, when she asked in front of us for the chocolate milk. Magellan looked disappointed, said fine, and handed the milk to his sister. It happened so fast that we didn't even react. She slunk off to the kitchen to enjoy the spoils of her victory. Magellan did nothing once she left the room but sit on the carpet and smirk. What Moody never stopped to consider was that Magellan hates chocolate milk. He hates it so much, in fact, that he never bothered to refrigerate the carton. He instead stashed the chocolate milk in a bookshelf, and let it cook for 2 days, all while she harassed him. The calm demeanor and the smirk on his face was him simply waiting to hear the screaming coming from the kitchen when she opened the carton and took a sip. Moody did not let him down. Within seconds, screaming erupted from the kitchen, punctuated with gross, disgusting, and OMG Magellan. Magellan didn't move from the carpet, and instead sat still and said in the quietest voice, "Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, eating her curds and whey before bursting into maniacal laughter. It was glorious." He exploited her obnoxious behavior and coolly planned his vengeance. He felled the teenage monster in a way that the adults haven't come close to. I'm damn proud of that boy.